It's time for your Project Runway New Zealand Season 1, Episode 12 recap, and it's the finale. Well, as you remember, previously on Project Runway New Zealand, we saw Jess take the final challenge win, and we saw Judy walk. But tonight is the finale. 3 designers left. Who will be the first winner of Project Runway New Zealand? Well, Georgia and Andreas congratulate the top 3 and tell them they have $2,000 and 3 weeks to create a collection of 5 that includes last week's garment. Well, as we see later, Andreas will first check in with Jess after the first week of creating her collection. Jess is rethinking her colors, and Andreas says he is sure she will make it work. And then off he goes to see Kiri. Kiri says his collection goes from dark to light, and Andreas says he has good bones to his collection. And then on we go to see Ben's collection in progress. Andreas says he isn't getting the picture of Ben as an artist, and I think that they show us this because they don't want us to assume that Ben is going to win, which we already are assuming that he's going to because they love him so much, and Georgia can't look at Ben without grinning like they're best friends. But anyway, on we go. The 3 designers then reunite back at the flat they had stayed at while filming before. They talk about excitement and nerves, and Ben says he didn't do this competition to come in effing second. And that was a quote. Carrie is running late on the big day and arrives just after Andreas. Andreas says the models will be along soon for their last-minute fittings, makeup, and hair. And, of course, Gigi makes up the models with Maybelline makeup. Schwarzkopf does the hair. And Andreas takes a moment to ask them what they've learned through this experience. And, of course, he wishes them all well with their futures. Well, then on to last-minute fixes before the runway. We see Carrie in the Hop Soda commercial again, FYI. And then Georgia comes out to the runway, and she introduces Sally Ann, Benny Castle, Kylie Cook as a guest judge, Sean Kelly, who, if you watched Project Runway US version, he was the winner of Season 13. So, let's get on with the runway. Carrie starts things off. He tells us that he was once in a bad place and has moved to a good place, and his collection should reflect that. Well, first we see he's got a black suit, and of course he's got impressive tailoring. I mean, what can he say? He's a great tailor. I mean, Carrie can tailor the crap out of anything. I mean, seriously. Then we see his silver sort of looking suit. Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, again, you can't discount anything he does. It's always well done. And then we move on to a formal black pantsuit. He kept the organza accents to his collection, you'll notice. So it is very cohesive. And then his model, Christina, shows his yellow suit from last episode. And like I said, Kiri is very talented, and he can tailor the shit out of anything. So, there you go. Up next is Ben. He comes out, and Lola is wearing his garment from last week, which everyone, of course, loved. And then a nice tan suit. And then the same tone again. A tiered dress. Which, I mean, it's nice. And then the next dress is in the same color tone. And then we'll see, finally, Gracie, his favorite model, in a nice dress that has a train that looks sort of like a petticoat sort of thing. I'm not sure. But anyway, it looks well made or whatever. Of course, the judges are just loving everything about Ben's collection. Yeah, you know, everybody knows. Alright, so on with Jess. Her collection is dedicated to all the strong women in her life. And it starts off with her pink and red suit that won her the last episode challenge. And in keeping with her color palette, another bright suit. Then she has like a dress and a jacket. And I like the puffy jacket. I think it's cool. But my absolute favorite jacket of anything I've seen probably from Jess is the suede jacket. I really dig it. And then she has some more of the pink and red thing. Because, like, she just, like, totally went whole hog on that the color scheme. All right, so most of the judges, I mean, well, all people all around are pleased with the collections. I thought for the most part they all did a nice job. But my top three favorite designs are a bit mixed. See, I like one of each of the designers. But overall, in my opinion, I kind of feel like Kiri should have won. I think he's the most polished, and he is a freaking awesome tailor. And I think that I would really like to see what else he would do. But anyway, Georgia comes back out. She reintroduces the judges. Sally Ann Mullen, of course, from Fashion Quarterly. Benny Castle, the designer from World. Kylie Cook, and Sean. And Ben said he wanted to look more, he wanted his designs to look more aged, but tidy, you know, not unkempt and, you know, thready and sort of jaggedy the way it had been. You know, he sort of tried to tidy up the edges and that sort of thing. He wanted a French military sort of thing, I think he said. Jess then said she didn't want to have, she doesn't want people to have to dress for an occasion, but to dress how you feel. And she gets praised for her colors. So they all tell her that she has a great future, which we all know means she's not going to win, and she's going to be the first one to leave. Is probably it, right? Well, anyway, Benny Castle says her collection brought him to life, which I thought that was nice. Carrie uses Send in the Clowns as a metaphor for his From the Dark to the Light collection, and they praise him for his tailoring and construction. Of course they do. Sean loved his silhouettes. They ask each of the designers why they think each one of them feels they should win. Ben basically says he was born to do this. Jess says she's pushed herself and has learned who she is as a designer. Kiri says he feels like he has a voice in this industry and he wants to continue and wants to be able to put it out there. They're excused, and so of course it's time for the judges to collaborate. The judges and Andreas discuss each of them, Carrie, and you know, just his overall wonderful construction and tailoring. They love Jess's use of color, but like with Carrie, they find fault to point out. You know, they want to make sure they find something to point out with each of them as a problem, because you know they want to try to make it seem like something. But I mean, let's face it, at this point they're all good designers, and you know, it's just nitpicking and that sort of thing at this point, really, because I mean, let's face it, they wouldn't be here if they weren't talented to some degree, right? So it's nitpicking at the end of the day. And oh, of course, Ben, they love his monotone color thing. They make note of a few technical issues, but you know, we know. We know. Georgia then brings out our designers. Kiri is told he's, you know, well done, but then he's asked to leave the runway. Dun dun. So then we know then that Jess is next on the chopping block because Georgia can't help but gush every time she looks and talks to Ben. And of course, Ben wins Project Runway New Zealand Season 1. We knew from day dot, didn't we? Right? I even wagered my husband $20 before this episode even started that he was going to win, because it was so obvious from the moment that the judges first started talking to Ben. It's like they just love him, you know? Anyway, the judges then pour, you know, just admiration all over Ben. Benny says that Ben was the one to beat from the start. And, you know, like I said, we all felt he had an advantage anyway. So it's all done then. Ben wins the $50,000, the Holden Astra, and he and his model get the photo shoot and the 6-page spread in Fashion Quarterly magazine. So, congratulations to Ben. Well, thanks to everyone for checking us out throughout the season. Check out our collective video of all the designers' garments throughout the season, which is going to be coming up soon. Please like and subscribe, and tell us what shows you'd like to hear or to live chat about. Thanks again, and have a great day, and we'll see you next time.